Well, look at it. DANGERFIELD, Dangerfield. Hello, Dragonis. Well, here we are. I have kept my promise. I said if I get more subscribers from the last Dragon's Den reaction, I'd make more reactions. So here's another one. And if I get more subscribers from this one, I'll make even more. The quid pro quo is occurring. This is called I Would Suggest You Have a Reality Check. I haven't seen this. Take it away. That is some kind of haircut. Ah, damn, I was really hoping it would go back to that. That is a very beautiful backless gold sparkly dress. You know, there's one thing. I mean, you'll hear it all the time. Sex sells. It doesn't. That's a myth. Connection sells. And you can, you know, kind of conjure up senses of connection via sexuality. But one thing that certainly provides a sense of connection is a beautiful woman. And they have done their best to attack that over the years. But it's because the non-verbal language of female seduction, which is largely how they appear, because male desire is almost entirely visual, certainly in the first instance. It's unlikely that will ever go away. Yay! Hooray! Nonetheless, that is some Barnet fare. You know, choices have been made there. Several. It's a peculiar... But, you know, I'd quite like to get my hands in it. Are you meant to say that? I don't know what you're allowed to say anymore. I did date a girl, actually. She was a PhD... what was she? Some kind of... She treated young girls with eating disorders. She had her own practice while she was studying at Oxford. She was on the athletics team and she had hair much like that. And on our first date, I said, "Can I feel your hair?" And she said, "Yeah." And I did. And I went right down to the scalp. And she said, "You didn't expect it to feel like that there, did you?" And I went, "No, it's lovely." But she was right. I didn't. It felt wrong. It felt diseased. Lovely girl, lovely hair as well. Well, let's see what this one's got to offer apart from her hair. Lots of ladies in a line. Well, they're all holding a magazine. It's a magazine. I'm guessing it's a magazine. They're either selling ladies or a magazine, and I'm hoping that Dragon's Den hasn't gone down to human trafficking. Imagine pitching that on Dragon's Den. Hello, Dragons. It's a multi-billion-dollar global industry. I've found these ladies on the streets. They have substance abuse problems and no families, and you know, they're very easy to handle. I'm looking for 100,000. Yeah, I'm getting into the specifics too much there. It's a magazine.
Thank you.
Cue the music. Now, I'm going to predict now, because it always happens, awkward B-roll of the dragons' faces. I mean, the women are going to have a certain reaction. The men are going to have a certain reaction. And whereas I frequently say that they shoot the expressions, some of them, afterwards, this is gold dust. Because, you know, sexuality, dare I say sensuality, it has an effect on people. So I'm guessing that the camera operators will try and get the actual expressions, and there'll be a lot in there, I promise. I mean, You want to know what it takes to try and look neutral? That's it. and he's trying to look neutral, but he's almost gone for the 2,000-yard stare. He's choosing, I'm guessing he's not focusing on those women. He's focusing behind them so he doesn't have to look at them, so that people on television don't have to see him going, Jesus. He's not looking at them. His eyes aren't, they're not at the right angles to be looking at something that close. Look at him. Okay, I hope we get some more. We should. I mean, good Lord. If I was there, I'd just be going, yeah, yay, yay, models. Another one. Yep, it's just business. This is just business. I've got that. Okay, tell us about the business. Peter Jones, you might be a cocky bastard with plenty of filthy lucre, but you're still a geezer. That is not convincing anyone. It's priceless. Just looking away. Just look. I've had enough of this now. You know, it must be terribly hard for older women. You know, men tend to get more attractive as they age. But don't get me wrong, it's very hard being a young man. You know, the amount of girls I'd go up to at school, once I learned it was a numbers game. Hello, Sally, would you like to come to the school discotheque with me on Friday? No, I'm going out with Gary. He's got like a car and a job and a house. Okay. It's kind of like revenge of the sexes, because as men get older, you know, you become more attractive, as women lose their looks. Men lose their looks eventually, but we do certainly get a couple more decades. But Meaden, nah, she's just looking away. And she did look back, but that was her break in proceedings. That was like, oh God. And then, you know, she sort of got herself together, dusted down her reality, and now she's back on it. Look at it. Look, that's not, when we cover our mouths, you know, it's body language has got very few absolutes. What it's about is it's about a change from your baseline. What do you usually do, and what's changed now? But that's not just a mouth covering, because most of the time, if people cover their mouths, they're weirdly not wanting to hear something, or they're not wanting to think about what they're talking about. But that's the thumb. That's the face is almost, you know, that is a desiring male who's trying to hide it. That is I'm going to put this as bluntly as I can without obscenities. That's a man who wishes to impregnate one of the ladies who are standing in front of him. And he's done a terrible job. I mean, they've all done a terrible job of covering it up, but, you know, he looks like, oh, I don't even want to say the kind of place where I think you'd see someone with that expression. He won't be happy with that when he watches this edition back. And you can rest assured the Dragons watch every edition back. You know, just because they're famous and rich, you know, it doesn't matter. They haven't got doesn't mean they haven't got a rugged and active seam of narcissism. You know, they're human. Look at that, though. Hang on. Sorry, Kelly. We'll come back to you. Hang on. I just want to get that last little bit of Duncan. All right. Let's try and get this. It's stress. You know, I think he realised that initial response was too obvious. There's a little bit more. Let me see. But, I mean, look, if you saw that photo and I said to you, what's this bloke feeling? What context is this in? You probably wouldn't say looking at some beautiful women. I mean, yes, knowing he's on telly changes that context, but that is stress. That's a man with a wife or a girlfriend who's trying to keep so much desire deep down that he's having a counteraction and it's all coming out. Look at it, amazing. Kelly, ever the professional, again, looks like she's not actually focusing. And you know, Kelly's an attractive woman, but she's hitting that age where that's going to rapidly decline. So, you know, this will be difficult for her. You know, that's not a judgment. You know, I'm 51. You know, I'm fine. You know, I can't read without my glasses on. I know what it's like to get old, and so does Kelly, especially right now. Everyone relaxes. Okay.
Hi, my name's Laura Bartlett from URBAN COCO magazine.
URBAN COCO magazine. Okay, so urban. When I was a stand-up comic, urban tended to mean black people. It tended to mean not white people. You know, I'm not necessarily disagreeing or agreeing with that, YouTube. I'm just saying, if I was invited to do an urban gig, I wasn't actually, because they were all black performers. So URBAN COCO, I don't know, you know, let's see.
I'm here today to ask for £100,000 for a 15% share in my business. 15%
share, 100,000, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So she's valuing her company at about 630,000. £630,000.
Yes.
I mean, for 630,000 for a magazine, a style mag, which is what it is, it's a ridiculously competitive market. Why? Well, there's no barrier to entry. You know, you need a photographer, you need some models, you need some people who know about style, and it's very cheap to to manufacture. It's basically paperback books. She's got to be turning over about 5 mil to be valuing her company at that, and my guess is she's not.
It's something that I launched in June 2010. It started online as an online magazine.
Well, that's good. We've got a sense of the timing. So 2010. So I'm guessing this was filmed 2012 or something. That would make sense if she launched it in 2010.
Just a hobby, really.
I'll tell you what, I'll confirm that and put it up there now. Okay.
Really to write about fashion and events, initially in Leeds, but then started getting interested.
Now, I lived in Leeds. I've done a master's degree in Leeds. I'm not taking anything away from it, but I hated it. So she's already got herself in a bit of a problem. A style mag based in Leeds. You're hobbling yourself a bit there. I'm hoping she's about to say it's got to be London. And that's just a fact. You know, simply because of the size of the market, not because London's better than Leeds, although obviously it is, it's the capital city, but the size of the market's ridiculous. Who's going to buy Leeds style mag?
Interest from all over the country and covering events in fashion in London and Manchester.
There you go, she dropped it in straight away, London.
To the point where in January last year I decided to quit my full-time job and turn my hobby into a business. So I decided to move from online into print. So from later on this month, the magazine will be available on newsstands.
Oh, so she hasn't gone to market as a physical magazine. So she had an online fashion blog, essentially. Now, it could be amazing. You know, she could be getting 1 million views a month. And now if you are getting 1 million views on your online fashion blog, you can start selling advertising and you can make an absolute fortune with numbers like that. You can make pretty good money with 200,000 views a month. But But then you've got to ask, why has she gone to print? If you were making money with an online version, why would you cause all the hassle of going to print? My guess is because the online version isn't working. She's not getting the views. You know, this is the great big myth of the internet. In the early days of the internet, everyone had a homepage. GeoCities, for instance, things like that. Oh, I've got a homepage. Here's my dog. Here's my house. Oh, we went to the seaside. No one saw them because people didn't understand how the internet worked, and remarkably, a lot of people still don't. The hardest thing about having an e-commerce, isn't the website, isn't the products. It's getting people to find your shop, because you're on the internet competing with millions, billions of other websites. How do you get people to find your shop? And there's a multitude of different ways, and you don't pick one or two of them. You have to do them all. You get the occasional unicorn who will have a YouTube channel blow up, and of course they can then, you know, ride the wave of that. But, you know, building a standard business, you've got to do search engine optimization, which is paying someone else basically to sort out things like backlinks, get your Google authority up. What's the word? You know, you need to get all your keywords optimized, things like that. There's content marketing where you're writing blogs every week which are keyword optimized. You know, so in your area, say fashion, you're going to need things like fashion, style, London Fashion Week, all, you know, keywords in your blogs used many times, not too many though, or Google will punish you for keyword stuffing. You know, you've got to do all of that sort of stuff, because your competitors are. Influencer marketing is massive at the moment, where you send YouTubers and Instagram accounts your products for free. And then hopefully they make a video. Hey, look what I got through the post. Nice. That was nice of them. There's a link in the description. Bang, you get people come to your site. But because that's now becoming more of an industry, you know, people aren't going on Instagram and YouTube to make channels. They're going on to become influencers as a job. So the gifting influencers is going down, and paying them CPM, cost per mile, which is cost per 1,000 people they send to your shop, the prices are going through the roof. But that you might not sell anything. They've just sent, say, 10,000 people to your shop. The average conversion on an e-commerce store is about 2.5%. So 100 people go to your shop, 2.5 of them buy something. I mean, I know it's quite hard for half a person to buy something. Well, not necessarily. They might be legless or differently abled, is what I meant to say. Continue.
20 different countries, and I'm here today to ask for the investment to help me turn my one-woman publishing machine into a fully running company that's not just run by me.
That I valued at over £500,000. Wow.
Happy to answer any questions.
Hang on, she said it's just run by her. So she's writing all the articles. She's taking the photographs. Taking them off the internet. ChatGPT, the articles. Oh God, I've got to get another edition of Urban Coco out. ChatGPT. I mean, obviously this was 10 years ago, but. Yeah, she's not looking too confident there, but if this is a one-woman, I don't want a magazine where the tone is one person all the way through, because that is a novel. That's not a magazine. I want different approaches, different angles, different politics, different views. Not a one-woman fashion. That's not a machine. It's a one-woman fashion failure
That you might have.
A model pitch from 26-year-old Laura
Clever. Model. Good.
Bartlett, who's looking for £100,000 for a 15% stake in her fashion magazine.
Women are fantastic. Look at them. It's like they're gliding out on the sea of desire.
Urban Coco.
Urban Coco. I mean, there's so much in there that, you know.
Piers Linney is the first to question the fashionista entrepreneur.
Hi, I'm Piers. Why are you going from online to offline, where the whole industry is going in the opposite direction?
Exactly. I'll tell you why, Piers, and you know why, because it's failed online.
If less people are doing it, then you've got more chance of standing out.
No, no. That's an amazing. I mean, it's a good answer to have an answer. Bang! Oh, I answered him. Bang! But it's wrong.
Like I say, it started in Leeds, so there weren't any other magazines in Leeds. So I thought that by moving into print and being the only fashion magazine in the city,
Yeah, but you're not. There's literally thousands of them. I remember when I was living in Soho, there was a shop just at the end of Broadwick Street where it meets Berwick Street, and its windows are newsagents, but its window was just style mags, just style magazines, like hundreds of them with names like Bubble Pop and Slap. I'll tell you what, if you read my novel, it's coming out this year, anyway, I won't go down there, but you can check out my Substack, link in the description. Let's get back to this. She's made a terrible excuse there. As soon as Piers said to her when the whole industry's going the other way, she realised that she's made a mistake, and she's just said the first thing that came into her head.
it'd be able to kind of raise a profile of the brand, and also with the...
Just look at her shaking her head in the negative as she's saying that. It's very subtle, but watch. You know, she's saying what you know, because everyone else, no one's doing it, and she says it will raise the profile of the brand. She's answering herself. It's very subtle, but thanks to her buffon, we can see it. Look.
Leeds, so there weren't any other magazines in Leeds, so I thought that by moving into print and being the only fashion magazine in the city, it'd be able to kind of raise the profile of the brand.
See it?
And also with the whole blogging community and blogging becoming such a massive thing, it was kind of hard to stand out online. So that's the main reason why I decided to move into print.
It did.
And Meaden's about to say it didn't stand out online, and it's not going to stand out in print.
Didn't really work online, did it?
It did work online, yes, until I think blogging kind of got so...
Until blogging got big. What, in 2004?
big.
Tell me what it worked meant.
It worked that...
Deborah's still, excuse my French, pissed at the beautiful women that come in, and she's taking it out on her. She could have said, give me some numbers, but she didn't. Hands up in front of her, old, you know, like an old headmistress. Tell me what worked meant. I'll take it back a bit.
Blogging kind of got so big.
Tell me what it worked meant.
It worked that I was generating revenue from online advertisers, and also...
Oh, okay, interesting. Well, you know the next question, love. How much?
Getting quite a lot of hits and followers.
So again, that's what I'm after. I'm after
Yeah.
the successes on the online site and the indicators that said, actually, this will work better.
Yeah, so I already had so many followers and fans that...
She's not given... She's had 3 opportunities now, if you're generous, 4, to give some numbers. And for reasons I'm sure you can guess, she's dodging that. And there's going to come a point where she can't dodge it any longer. And that's going to come within the next 30 seconds.
I knew that if I moved into print...
How many?
It'd be 8,000 unique visitors a month.
Terrible. It's terrible. I mean, 8,000 unique sounds good, but look at the conversions. Are people coming back regularly as well? Have you got people that have subscribed? How much you... I mean, in fairness, I haven't asked her specifically how much were you earning with the advertisers, but that's all coming now. And that's where this pitch is going to go... No one's invested in this. No, I'll tell you that now. A magazine that's failed online, that's going to print, that's written by one woman, it's going to be awful quality. This is a hobby that grew probably more than she expected. I mean, 8,000's pretty good for a hobby, but that's all. That at that point, you don't think we'll move to print. What she should have done is continued with that, got some staff on board, use some of that money to delegate the work out to different writers so she could spend her time growing the business, marketing it, getting the SEO done, etc., etc.
OK, so 8,000 unique visitors a month. Does that sound like a lot to you?
Yeah.
Ah, that was really sad, and it wasn't even naive, it was just the dregs of hope. You know, that sort of, she went almost childlike, went up an octave. Yeah. And when I hear that, I hear, no.
Somewhat.
Oh, and there you go. That's, yes, exclamation mark. Linny's looking down at the sadness of it all, at the tragedy of human failure. I'm going to start crying.
The 100...
He looked away. Linny looked away. He knew that camera was on him, and he knew he had the visage of human failure. So he just turned away. Anyone but me. Hello?
£100,000. What are you going to spend it on?
To take on a full-time salesperson, so there's someone dedicated to sales.
Right, a full-time salesperson in 2010, you're looking at about 60 grand a year. So that leaves you 40. I mean, I'm not getting at her, but this information was available then as it is now. You know, you can go and have a look. How much does a salesperson cost? You know, you'll be taking, if you want someone who knows what they're doing, you're going to be taking them from a successful magazine who can afford to pay them $6,000. You could take a punt with someone who's just left university with a sales degree, but these things can happen. You know, you can hit gold. I've hit gold with a couple of staff in my time. You know, people who'd never done the job, had no familiarity with the different platforms we use. But after a bit of training, absolutely blossomed. And one of them is now manager of customer service. But it's not typical. So anything under 60 grand, maybe 50 then, I suppose. She's going to get someone with no experience, and that tends to mean not many skills. Oh damn, let's get that face again just after she says it.
To take on a full-time salesperson, so there's someone dedicated to sales.
Salesperson is how much?
£18,000.
Yeah.
18, I missed that face, sorry, it was getting all a bit choppy then. 18 grand a year for a full-time salesperson. I've got a call from my girlfriend, so I'm going to pause the recording and I'll get back to you in a couple of seconds. And we're back. Apologies.
Yeah.
Salary for myself, 25,000.
Yeah.
She's paying herself more than the salesperson. So what's that now? What's that? 43,000? I've lost count, but it's around 40 grand, isn't it?
65,000 on marketing.
Right, 65,000 sounds like a lot of money, but to market a style magazine in an industry, in an area that's so saturated, like incredibly saturated. You know, magazines come out with top named writers, top paid photographers, you know, top paid designers, recognisable faces in the industry. And she's just got her. And 65,000 marketing, you know, you're looking at about 2,000 a month is going to be your basic search engine optimization. Then you're going to all your content marketing, your influencer marketing, someone doing all that work. I need some water, it's so shocking. By the way, she's already over her 100,000, so that's all gone.
The graphic design, which is £20,000.
Yeah, but you're now 20 grand in the red, love, roughly. Meaden was trying not to just go, "You're mad."
But, well, that's more than 100.
Look at the headmistress face on that. I'm going to pause it so I can have some water. Good Lord, I'm losing my nodules are burning. Right, that should be marginally better. Continue. So you're over your budget.
Then that's it.
Well, no, that's more than 100.
Yeah, the graphic designer isn't £20,000, it's 13,500. It was...
Yeah, but that's still about 10 grand over. And these are such small figures. It's she's young, naive, hopeful. She might do well later in life when she learns the basics of her industry. You know, she's getting 8,000 unique visitors. She hasn't failed. She's succeeded at that. She's succeeded at that. But what she needs to learn is how to scale. And getting 100 grand from the Dragons and the help of a dragon, the help of a dragon would probably do it, but they're going to need to put more than 100 grand in. I'd suggest to launch a magazine that's only getting 8,000 unique visitors a month. To have it have any chance of success. In 2023, you'll be looking at a few million, at least.
£1,000.
Do you want to do that again then? Shall we? Because the question was, start with 100,000.
Yes.
How are you
Work
going
backwards.
to spend it?
25,000 on a salary for myself.
Yeah.
65 on marketing.
Yeah.
Right, that's 90 grand.
No, 50,000 on marketing.
Right, that's 80 grand.
Yeah, and the graphic designer and the full-time salesperson.
You already said salesperson, and Meaden's pain is palpable because these aren't difficult numbers. It's not like she said, give us your pre-tax projections for year 4. No, she just asked, what are you going to do with the 100 grand? And they've cut her a fair amount of leeway, you know, compared to how the Dragons usually do, and she's failed at it. I'm not giving someone like that 20 quid of my money, let alone 100 grand. I'm certainly not giving them any of my time.
You do know it's beginning to sound like you're just plucking those numbers out of the
I'm
air,
really
don't
not,
you?
though. It's just kind of gone through them so many times.
Okay,
in my
well, I
head now.
assume you're not just plucking those numbers out of the air. But my worry is that the number that's reduced, which I thought was undershooting it heavily anyway, marketing for £50,000 when you're going to be marketing in 20 different countries?
Yeah.
I missed the global. Sorry, I must have been talking over the global. Good gosh. Yeah, that's jokes. What's that about? I can't work it out. About 2.5 grand a country. What are you going to get from that? Like some B-list celebrity from the 70s standing outside Asda. Urban Coco, anyone? Hey. Come on, Basil Brush.
Does that sound like that's going to...
Pedro's gone asleep. Look, he's tuned out.
even dent?
Yeah, I think it would.
No, you like it to, but it's not going to. Look at Deborah again. This is really... I mean, Deborah was hurt initially. That, you know, pretty women can backfire. They can. And they did. And they put Deborah in a position of pain. And as much as... And I'm going to give her this. As much as she tried to help this picture, she's maintained a level of pain throughout, you know. That door was opened and it hasn't quite closed. It just keeps getting open wider. Look at her face. Look, it looks like someone's just pulled her toenail out.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, she's coming across like she's just left school and she'd done a project where they said, okay, we want you to come up with some kind of business. I mean, you're interested in fashion. Why don't you do a fashion magazine? And she'd done it and her art teacher said, hey, you know, that's really good. You could get on. Well, you should do that when you leave school. And when she left school with her 2 GCSEs and no ability to read or write because they were too busy teaching her about, I don't know, some leftist nonsense, she set up Urban Coco and she knows nothing about business. Duncan's really pulling them out today.
Laura's laissez-faire attitude to her
Laissez-faire is the most generous. You can't use a term to describe someone when that someone doesn't know what that term means.
costs is
That's the rule.
confusing the dragons. But Peter Jones, who has himself invested in a magazine, has altogether different concerns.
Razzle.
Have you heard of Wonderland magazine?
I have, it's fabulous.
And it's absolutely huge. Well, it was in about 2014.
And
Look at Duncan. Duncan doesn't like Pedro's magazine success.
when you
Let's just have a look at that again. Hang on. Keep your eye on Duncan. Because Wonderland is a magazine that Peter Jones owns. A style magazine, by the way.
I have, it's fabulous.
Look at Duncan.
when you first walked in, and I saw these being held by the models on the front cover, my heart started to race a little bit. And it started to race not because of the models that were holding this.
Right, that's a lie. It's not a lie as much as it's deceptive. No way did Jones's heart race more from an A4 bit of paper that was about 6 metres away compared to 4 or 5 very glamorous, very beautiful ladies. That's just deceptive. So he's using this now, leading up to something probably negative. Because that's Peter's process.
But because of the fact that I was concerned that this could enter the market and be a competing product to Wonderland magazine. But the minute I got it in my hand,
Here we go.
I breathed a massive sigh of relief. It's substandard quality. The content is just appalling.
Appalling. She's eye blocked. Look, eyes shut. Don't want to hear it. Shut reality out. Bring the shutters down. And it's all hers. He's just said, you're appalling. The work you do, your main passion in life that you spend all your time doing, you're no good at it. That's pain. That is painful. You know, people don't necessarily need praise, but to be attacked at that kind of level, the content, your writing, your thoughts, your understanding of the field, the industry, is appalling. Ouch.
I'd expect better or more from a student, as whilst
No, Peter, you're forgetting that students these days are actually customers. It's not like the old days when intelligent people went to university. Now it's just anyone who wants to go. Yeah.
I'm happy because you will never ever compete with something of which I own.
What a thing to say! I mean, our head's just wobbling. I'm happy. Listen to what he actually said. I'm happy, like jolly, gay, shall we say, that you will never compete with something I own. That is just adding to the appalling thing. He's just said, you don't stand a chance in this game. And that makes him happy. Now, that's business. You know, when your competitors are failing, that, you know, you're not like, oh, that's a shame. You're like, brilliant, because that's more business for me. You'll mop up that trade. But to say that to someone who's, you know, basically a naive startup who's just left school is kind of unnecessary and beautiful at the same time. It's the push me, pull you that makes Dragon's Den wonderful.
I would suggest that you have a reality check, go back to the drawing board and make this 100 times more impressive than what it is today.
Okay.
And for that,
Which is probably, no, not probably, which is definitely, if he's right about the content, which I'm guessing he is, the best advice she could ever have, as long as she responds to it in the correct way. You know, her family and friends will be telling her it's great. A unique visitor might just click your link go there, read 5 words or see a photo and just leave. You know, they might be on your channel for like 2 seconds. So that doesn't really mean anything. Now, if she takes that advice and thinks, right, I will make this work, what do I have to do? I mean, the information's out there. You know, if you can use a computer, you can find out how to do things. So although it was a bit brutal because Peter knows it's on telly and he has to entertain, it is actually the information she needs.
For that reason, sadly, Laura, I'm out.
Appreciate your honesty, thank you.
That's a fair point as well. That's a decent reaction. And Peter looks like he's been on the jazz cigarettes.
A brutal assessment by Peter Jones.
She's on the verge of tears.
Will Kelly Hoppen, who has a good working knowledge of the glossy magazine sector...
Right, that was 100% B-roll. She wasn't looking at her then. But let's just have a look at it again and tell me whether you... tell me in the comments whether you think this is a convincing response to what someone's actually saying or doing. Bearing in mind, this lady here... I keep forgetting her name, apologies, that is quite rude. She's saying nothing at the moment, and look at how Kelly's supposedly responding. Look.
Will Kelly Hoppen, who has a good working knowledge of the glossy magazine sector, be any more sympathetic?
Not a chance was that a response to someone saying nothing. That's not a dig at anyone. I'm just showing you how Dragon's Den works and why they shoot B-roll, because they can put it in for little transitions like that. While our man Evano is saying his bit, you get a bit of B-roll.
I can see you're passionate. And
I can see you're about to start crying. And you know, Kelly is a kind of a nice person, and it's a nice way of saying, but this is rubbish. And that's where it's going to go. I can see you're passionate, and you know, she's got this far with it, but this little monologue ends with, I'm not investing. I'm out.
The way you presented yourself and the way you came into the den, and it's always quite heartbreaking for me because I think the passion is part of what drives a business and what you do. But I think that it's a lot of money, £100,000 to put in. You're going to swallow that up in 5 minutes. I think that you need to re-look at the magazine to have it more lifestyle. So that's interiors, fashion, food, health, everything that people are interested in.
Increase your market, of course. As you know, you can specialize. You know, once you've got a market, you can start specializing based upon who's coming back. Who, you know, where's your market coming from? That's when you can start specializing. That's when you can actually launch other magazines. But yeah, you know, it's a wider brushstroke in the early stages makes absolute sense. It's a good advice from Kelly.
Interested in. But it's not a business that I would invest in, so for that reason I'm out, but good luck.
Thank you.
I mean, she is very young, this girl. What is she, 17 or something? I don't know, 18?
I think what you have here really, in many ways, is a potential college project piece.
There you go. I said it, but this poor girl.
And I don't want to be unfair, but I think that's how I view this. I think
and that's how I view it, and I haven't even seen it, but it's obvious based on what she's already said.
You are going against the flow in a global industry, and you are competing with some very serious brands. But
you know, Vogue, Cosmopolitan, GQ, Urban Coco.
Don't think you're going to be able to make any noise with this at all in the industry you're up against. So I wouldn't invest in this, I'm afraid.
No worries.
So I'm out.
Thank you.
No worries. She's sweet enough, though. There's something I'm really looking forward to, an aged Scottish bloke talking to a young girl about a fashion magazine. Now, yes, he's got the business chops, but I'm guessing fashion isn't Duncan's area. You know, I reckon his missus dresses him for a start. Because he looks very good, he always scrubs up well. Some lovely schmutter on Duncan.
Just because this is such a difficult industry, and you put a valuation on this of almost £700,000, You know,
Yeah, that was a weird guess. I mean, that is going to haunt her for the rest of her life. The figure she valued her fashion fanzine.
I really can't invest £100,000 in it.
Oh my God, she is on the verge of tears. Let's just... I sort of hate it but love it. Again, the push me, pull me. The ambivalence of the den. It's everything that life isn't and is meant to be. This is the ultimate dialectic. Let's see if we can get that. Actually, let's watch it slower. You can see her on the verge of breaking. She doesn't, but watch. We're going to get the excellent sounds. The psychedelic sounds of the 60s accompanying this. Here we go.
Almost £700,000. You know, I really can't invest £100,000 in it.
Oh, there it was. The slightly flared nostrils. Eeeh. Poor thing.
I'm
out. I'll get that speed back up.
out.
Cheers.
4 dragons out. Only Deborah Meaden remains.
Oh, Deborah's going to try and be all clever about this when the fact of the matter is she's just going to end by saying, I would like Deborah to say what this girl needs to hear. You have succeeded. You've succeeded at getting 8,000 unique viewers. I just said all this, didn't I? Work on that. Learn what you need to do to scale it. And use the tools at your disposal. Don't listen to your family and friends telling you it's brilliant. Look at the numbers. Look at the rate of growth. Look at who comes back. Look at subscriptions. Look at advertising rates and all that sort of stuff. And build upon that. Hopefully, Deborah will essentially say that, and then obviously she's out.
Do you know, I am delighted you've come to the den today.
Thanks.
Interesting angle.
It's not because I'm afraid I'll be investing, because I won't, but I'm delighted because you came early enough to get that advice.
Yeah.
And hopefully stop you making those mistakes so that you can use that spark of ambition elsewhere. But
No, she actually did shed a tear. You saw her just wipe it. There's nothing wrong with crying. Well, if you're a bloke, there is. I mean, men cry in front of their mothers and no one else. And I'll stand by that all my life. But she did. She's a young, naive girl, and she's out of her depth.
I agree. You know, it's everybody else is going the other way.
But there's going to be a massive breakdown when she gets home to her mother. That's for sure. There'll be copies of Urban Coco being torn up in a mad half a bottle of Prosecco rage tonight.
For a reason.
Oh, she is. She's just on that verge. It's awful. I'm surprised the editors aren't behind her going, she's crying more. Be nasty, she's crying.
Yeah.
It's not great. And valuation crazy.
Just in case you don't know, when someone says it's not great, it's another way of saying it's shit. Oh, she is just, I don't want her to. I mean, come on, love. We learn from our mistakes. I'm even being... maybe this is quite manipulative of her, actually. Maybe, look at me, straight in on that one. Maybe she's just showing emotions. There is always that chance. But we learn from our mistakes in life. You know, I never learned when I had a success. All I learned then was that I'd done something right. But I already knew how to do it right by virtue of the fact that I'd done it right. It's when I made mistakes, it's when I failed, that I thought I need to up my game. I need to learn something. I need to do things differently. So this little addition, this little session she's had in the den, and don't forget, she hasn't been standing there for 9 minutes. They average about 1.5 to 2 hour sessions. So she'd have been taking a lot of stick in this time. You know, they would have gone through her numbers in more depth, but the editors have chose instead to tell this story. She'll learn.
So, no reason at all. You've given me no reason to invest. So, I'm afraid I'm out.
Thank you.
Oh! Listen to that eerie silence. Rarely do you hear that. Even the dragons, their music people, the music's so low you can hear her heels clacking along. There you go.
A
They
tearful
brought me
Laura
back round.
has failed to convince
Laura, there you go. Oh, Laura's bum.
the dragons that her fashion magazine has legs. She leaves the den
Absolutely devastated. It's an existential crisis.
empty-handed.
Heartbreaking, isn't it?
Heartbreaking, isn't it?
Thinking about what the dragons said, I don't think they were wrong. I just think that was their opinion. And
Hang on. I don't think they were wrong. It was just their opinion. Yeah, but it was just their opinion and they weren't wrong. Let's have a little look and see if anything happened to Coco Urban Coco. Well, there she is, Laura Jane Bartlett, director, appointed on the 14th of July 2011, and there's the company status dissolved on the 29th of October 2016. I managed to find a shop on Amazon called Urban Coco, but I don't think it's there. Ta-da! Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, and a subscription would be really lovely. Oh, and sharing would be nice. Ta-da! Oh, but hang on. Oh, hold ye selves back. It would appear young Laura, who was 23 by the way then, she did listen. And although Urban Coco was dissolved, as she explains in this article in Influence, she was young, she was naive, there was nothing original about it, and so she then went on to set up House of Coco. And House of Coco has now got, she says, it's got more than 350,000 readers, it's growing month on month, and it generates over 6 figures every year. Now, revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, but she's still growing. She's stuck with it, and that's actually a success story for me. That's better than 8,000 online viewers. You know, she's sticking with it. So keep an eye out for it. I'm sure everyone who watches this channel would love to read a style magazine called House of Coco. Ta-ta!
Let's do the next two.